More than meets the eye. Let's go. So when first reading this chapter, I read through it and I was just kind of like, so it was a quick read. Yeah, not too much happened. I went back a couple times and I checked it and I was just thinking to myself, like, it's kind of a sad one, to be honest with you. And while it still started off with good old Stern Ritter Greg, for the most part, the best bit of it, I feel, even though it was set up at the end and everything, the Yachiru moment. Because if I'm correct, that panel, I don't know if that was supposed to be blood or what, but I believe that was tears running down Zaraki's face when he's screaming at his people, go find Yachiru. I believe that before that piece of shit disintegrated, he possibly took Yachiru out the game and pretty much either imagined that she disappeared, imagined her into something else. He did something that killed her. Now, with this whole thing, I'm curious, is Kensei and Rose indeed still dead? Or will Yachiru return after this? Because if it is indeed that Yachiru is dead and, you know, all these people are dead, then I guess to an extent you could say, yeah, well, even though the way he went out and the fight overall wasn't glorious, at least he did some damage. Similar to, like, Master Masculine, like, even though he was ridiculous or whatever, at least he did some damage and he, you know, knocked out Kensei and Rose. But if he didn't indeed kill him, and they're not going to come back now that he's disintegrated or whatever, because right now, it's still up in the air. At the end of the day, you can look at it and say, well, maybe she'll pop back up or whatever, and, you know, she'll just pop back up without her uniform because you see her badge and her uniform on the ground, and that's why Kenpachi's just, like, going crazy. If it is indeed that she's gone, then this was a very powerful moment for Kenpachi, because that's been his, you know, that's his ace boom coon, that's his, you know, best friend, that's his everything right there, and for him to lose that, that was a powerful moment right there. The chapter starts off and it's for the most part, like, I'm just like, shut the fuck up and die already. I don't give a fuck. Like, with this guy, Stern Ritter Gremmy, Stern Ritter V, Greg, I'm just like, I don't care already. Like, you were garbage. You were straight up filth. Goodbye. And then we find out that he was like, Brain. It reminds me of like some DC Comics thing from like Teen Titans or whatever, and it was just basically like he was a brain, I guess, and I don't know if Juhabak amplified it to the point where he could imagine that body, but once that body died, I guess his imagination would not be able to contain itself. It kind of makes no sense in a way. Like, so if it's a brain and you see the brain thing there, it's like not broken or anything, then wouldn't it just be able to reimagine its body again? Or once it dies and the brain can't reimagine it? Like, I would like a little bit more of an explanation. Maybe Juhabak say a couple words or something like, oh, you know, I guess he wasn't able to contain himself, just something, you know, to clarify why he couldn't just reimagine himself alive again, or you know, imagine things differently. Because if that's the case, then that means his imagination is permanent if he does indeed stay dead after he imagined himself, you know, and then he starts hulking and ripping and dies. So then that would mean that Kensei and Rose and Yachiru are all gone. The middle part, as I said, the Yachiru moment, I felt it when I went back and I was looking like, that's her badge, that's her uniform. Fuck, man, that little piece of shit before he left, he did this. So that was a great moment. That was a great moment, and it's going to only add to Kenpachi's rage, because right now, first of all, he's fucked up. He said his hearing is gone. He said all of that. So he's right now going to be in a mixed state between I'm all like messed up, I'm, you know, weakened, but I'm so sad and angry because Yachiru. So with the setup at the end with Bambietta's people showing up, which I'm curious, are they going to be powered up now that they, I don't know what they did. Did they devour her? Did they like eat Bambietta? Did they rip her? Like, what did they do? Because they showed up and like they're like looking all sinister. At the end of the day, this is going to be probably a more formidable matchup because you got a bunch of beasts and you got to weaken Zaraki somewhat. So it's going to be a little bit more on an even playing field. And he also probably can summon a Shikai. But at the same time, you can't count Zaraki out. At the end of the day, he's going to be very furious right now with this whole Yachiru shit. So it was good setup. Great moment with the Yachiru thing. If Yachiru turns out to be alive, then that's going to take tremendously from this, because as of right now, this is a very powerful and defining moment for Zaraki. He lost, you know, his best friend, basically. The following chapter, shall I say, is detrimental to this, because if Yachiru does return, then it kind of like makes this moment that feels amazing. Whatever. It was just, you know, if she returns and Kensei and Rose get back up or whatever. But again, if he indeed can't revive himself with his imagination, then maybe when you're dead, you're dead. If you disappear, you disappear. You can't do nothing about it. So that's something that, food for thought there. And overall, the chapter, way too quick. A lot of talking from Gremmy in the beginning. But it kind of reminds me in a weird way. If anybody ever seen Dexter, end of season 4. And yeah, I know you probably, if you don't know about Dexter, but basically, the main character, He's a serial killer, whatever, and he killed this guy, but he gets back home, and somebody that he cares about is dead when he gets back home. So it's like Zaraki put down this piece of shit, but without him realizing one of his people that he cares about was already killed and wiped out. So very interesting, emotional chapter in that sense, and just to see Zaraki with tears, if that was indeed tears and not sweat or just whatever, I believe that was truly tears, because he realizes he's telling them to go look for her, but that's her badge and her uniform right there. So overall, it was actually a very good chapter. Too short, but very good. Like, it was so short, and Gremmy didn't shut the fuck up, but it had such powerful content with Yachiru's, like, seemingly demise, and then the setup at the end for, like, a brute versus a bunch of savages. So it's gonna be some good shit, hopefully. Typical Bleach in a sense of like, yo, we're going from one fight to the next. Like, okay, we just had these fights, now we're gonna have that fight. I'm looking forward to seeing if Zaraki can do it again. Like, he's pretty weakened. He said some of his organs are fucked up. He's bleeding. He's a little bit, you know, he can't hear. So this is gonna be an interesting matchup. And I mean, he has what, 4 opponents? 3, 4, 5? I don't know. There was quite a few there. So it's gonna be an interesting matchup. Overall, I'm gonna give this one 8 out of 10. Too short. And Gremmy didn't shut the fuck up in the beginning, like, just saying, so, like, just die, okay, we get it, we don't care, move the fuck on, we have a better fight coming along. But that moment, it was just like, you little sneaky bastard. While Zaraki was there, you know, trying to do his thing, you little fucker. Good shit there. 8 out of 10, very good. Let me know what you think. Do you think Yachiru is indeed dead? Is Kensei and Rose indeed dead? What do you think is going on with that? Did you feel the impact of that moment? Because I definitely felt it. It was like, even though it was a short chapter, and it started off with Gremmy didn't shut up, it had some really defining moments that made me say, it makes up for, in a sense, the shortness. And it also had a great setup at the end for, this is looking like it's going to be a really good fight. Like, this Gremmy shit, get him out of here, fuck him. But the Bambietta's crew, this is going to be good, and I'm really excited for that. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say, or you enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate a like on the video. I thank you so much. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.